Prakashi Gangwani from Regional Institute of Education, Bhopal. I am a student of B.Ed Language and Social Sciences. So students, today we are going to cover chapter 9 of your supplementary book, that is A Tiger in the House. This beautiful, interesting and shocking story is written by the author Ruskin Bond. So students, some of you might have a pet at your home. What it is? A dog, a cat, or a parrot maybe, or something else. Now, imagine this as a pet. Aren't you all shocked? I definitely am. So to know what happens when someone keeps tiger as a pet animal, we have to read this story. But before we read the story, let me just tell you that this story is about the grandfather of the writer. The grandfather finds a tiny tiger cub in the forest and brings him home. Grandmother calls him Timothy and brings him up like a human child. Timothy is playful and naughty. His companions are Toto, the monkey, a puppy, and other members of the household. So let's get into this story. Timothy, the tiger cub, was discovered by grandfather in the Terai jungle near Dhera. One day, when grandfather was strolling down the forest path at some distance from the rest of the party, he discovered a little tiger about 18 inches long, hiding among the intricate roots of a banyan tree. The difficult words in the above text are strolling, that means walk in a leisurely way. The next word is intricate, that means very complicated or detailed. So students, the grandfather of the writer was very sportive. He used to like hunting a lot. When he and his hunting party were going for a walk, he went little away from them and found a tiger cub, a baby tiger, that was around 18 inches long, and he was trying to hide in a very complicated roots of banyan tree. Grandfather picked him up and brought him home. He had the distinction of being the only member of the party to have bagged any game, dead or alive. At first, the tiger cub, who was named Timothy by the grandmother, was brought up entirely on milk given to him in a feeding bottle by our cook Mahmood. The difficult words in the above text are distinction, that means a difference or contrast between similar things. The next word is bagged, that means succeed in securing. So students, here distinction means that only grandfather got something among all the members, and always he is the one who gets something. The name Timothy was given by the grandmother, and the cook Mahmood used to feed him milk with a feeding bottle. But the milk proved too rich for him, and he was put on a diet of raw mutton and goat liver oil, to be followed later by a more tempting diet of pigeons and rabbits. That means the milk was too heavy for him to digest. Therefore, his diet was replaced with mutton, fish oil, etc. After he grew little more, he was served with flesh of pigeons and rabbits. Didn't he have a good life? Timothy was provided with two companions, Toto the monkey, who was bold enough to pull the young tiger by the tail and then climb up the curtains if Timothy lost his temper, and a small mongrel puppy that was found on the road by grandmother. The difficult words in the above text are tempting, that means appealing to or attracting someone, sometimes with wrong intentions. The next word is mongrel, that means a dog with no definable type or a breed. So he had two friends. One was the Toto. He was a monkey. He used to play with the tail of a tiger, very bold of him. But when Timothy gets angry, the monkey used to climb up the curtains, because tiger cannot do that. And the second friend was mongrel puppy. That means a dog with no definable type of a breed. The grandfather found him in a street. At first, Timothy appeared to be quite afraid of the puppy and darted back with a spring if it came too near. He would make absurd dashes at it with his large forepaws and then retreat to a ridiculously safe distance. Finally, he allowed the puppy to crawl on his back and rest there. The difficult words in the above text are darted. That means moved or rushed suddenly. The next word is retreat. That means to go back. The next word is crawl. That means to move forward on the hands and knees or by dragging the body close to the ground. So students, Timothy was very small. So he was scared from the puppy and jumped back when puppy came near. Sometimes he would quickly run towards the puppy to scare him with his paws and then jumps back to a safe distance from him. So, he wanted to scare the puppy, but ultimately he gets scared himself. But finally they became friends and used to play. One of Timothy's favorite amusement was to stalk anyone who would play with him. And so, when I came to live with grandfather, I became one of the tiger's favorite. The difficult words in the above text are amusements. That means the provision or enjoyment of entertainment. The next word is stalk. That means move silently or threateningly through the place. Here the writer tells us that Timothy's favorite work was to run behind the person who used to play with him. When the writer went to his grandfather's place, they both became good friends and played together. With a crafty look in his glittering eyes and his body crouching, he would creep closer and closer to me, suddenly making a dash for my feet, rolling over on his back and kicking with delight and pretending to bite my ankles. The difficult words in the above text are crafty. That means cunning. The next word is crouching. That means adopt a position where the knees are bent. The next word is creep. That means to move very quietly and carefully so that nobody will notice you. The next word is dash. That means to run or travel in a great hurry. So here the writer again tells us that the tiger used to come near him with his cunning eyes and he used to jump towards him. He was by this time the size of a full-grown retriever, and when I took him out for a walk, people on the road would give us a wide berth. When he pulled hard on his chain, I had difficulty in keeping up with him. The difficult words in the above text are retriever. That is a breed of a dog. Now, Timothy's height was big enough as the size of a retriever dog, a breed of a dog. So when the writer took him out for a walk, people on road would start maintaining distance from them. Imagine you see someone with a tiger in your park. How would you react? And he was so big that it was difficult to control him with a chain. His favorite place in the house was the drawing room, and he would make himself comfortable on the long sofa, reclining there with great dignity and snarling at anybody who tried to get him off. The difficult words in the above text are snarling. That means make an aggressive growl with bared teeth. So Timothy's favorite place in the house was the drawing room. He used to lean on the sofa very comfortably with all his dignity, as if he owns the house, and got aggressive when anyone would ask him to get up. Timothy had clean habits. He would scrub his face with his paws exactly like a cat. He slept at night in cook's quarters and was always delighted at being let out by him in the morning. Timothy was a very clean and hygienic tiger. He used to clean his face with his paws like a cat does. He used to sleep in the quarters of the cook and got very happy when in morning he was permitted to go out. Now students, before going forward, there are some questions that you should be able to answer if you have understood the chapter till here. The question says he had the distinction of being the only member of the party to have bagged any game. The phrase in italics means, first option, grandfather was the most distinguished member of the party, or grandfather was only sports person in the party, or grandfather was the only successful member of the hunting party. I'm sure you got it right. The answer is option number 3. The grandfather was the only successful member of the hunting party. Let's move towards the story. But before we continue, let me tell you that as Timothy grows up, he becomes less friendly and rather dangerous. Grandfather decides to transfer him to the zoo. 6 months later, grandfather pays Timothy a visit. Timothy is happy to see grandfather, or is he? Let us continue the story. One of these days, declared grandmother in her prophetic manner, we are going to find Timothy sitting on Mahmud's bed and no sign of the cook except his clothes and shoes. The difficult words in the above text are prophetic, that means accurately predicting what will happen in future. Of course, it never came to that, but when Timothy was about 6 months old, a change came over him. He grew steadily less friendly. The difficult words in the above text are steadily, that means in a regular or even manner. So the grandmother predicted here that one day we will find Timothy in the cook's room with the clothes and shoes of cook, but cook will not be there. Means one day he will eat the cook only. Although he did not do that, but when he was 6 months old, he became less friendly and was very dangerous. His needs started changing. When out for a walk with me, he would try to steal away to stalk a cat or someone's pet dog. Sometimes at night, we would hear frenzied cackling from the poultry house, and in the morning, there would be feathers lying all over the veranda. Timothy had to be chained up more often. The difficult words in the above text are steal away, that means leave steadily. The next word is cackling, that means the noise which is made by hens. The next word we have is frenzied, that means loud and frantic. Now the writer tells us, whenever he used to take him for a walk, he wanted that he should get little away from the writer and catch a dog or a cat, of course to eat. A very loud and scary noise used to come from the poultry, sometimes at night, and there would be feathers of the hens lying around in the morning. That means Timothy used to go to the poultry at night in search of hens. Therefore, he was chained up more often. And finally, when he began to stalk Mahmud about the house with what looked like villainous intent, grandfather decided it was time to transfer him to a zoo. Reserving a first-class compartment for himself and Timothy, no one would share a compartment with him. The difficult words in the above text are villainous intent, that means wicked and dangerous plan or idea. So here the grandfather understood that now Timothy must be sent to zoo. And how did he get it? He saw that he goes behind the cook with a very dangerous look, as if he wanted to attack on him. Then he immediately booked a first-class compartment where there were only 2 of them, the tiger and the grandfather, because no one else would like to travel with a tiger in a train. Grandfather took him to Lucknow, where the zoo authorities were only too glad to receive as a gift a well-fed and a fairly civilized tiger. The difficult words in the above text are civilized, that means polite and well-mannered. So the zoo authorities of Lucknow, they were very happy to receive a healthy, a polite and a well-mannered tiger as a gift. About 6 months later, when my grandparents were visiting relatives in Lucknow, Grandfather took the opportunity of calling at the zoo to see how Timothy was getting on. I was not there to accompany him, but I heard all about it when I returned to Dhera. The writer tells us that the grandparents went to Lucknow to visit their relatives. The grandfather planned to meet Timothy in the zoo and to see how he was, like how his health was, how he was treated, etc. etc. The writer says that he could not go to visit, but he got to know everything when the grandparents returned to Dhera. Let's see what happened in zoo. Arriving at the zoo, grandfather made straight for the particular cage in which Timothy had been interned. The tiger was there, crouched in corner, full grown, and with a magnificent striped coat. "Hello, Timothy," said grandfather, and put his arm through the bars of the cage. The difficult words in the above text are interned, that means kept. So the grandfather straight away went to the cage where Timothy had been kept. The tiger was there in the corner. He was fully grown up and with a very shining and glowing skin and stripes. The grandfather greeted him with a hello and put his hands inside the cage. The tiger approached the bars and allowed the grandfather to put both hands around his head. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead and tickled his ears, and whenever he growled, smacked him across the mouth, which was old way of keeping him quiet. The difficult words in the above text are smacked, that means hit lightly. So here, the tiger let the grandfather put his hands around the head. He stroked his forehead, means with all love and care he pampered him, and also tickled his ears. And whenever he used to get aggressive, he used to tap on mouth with very lightly. He used to do this earlier also to keep him quiet. He licked grandfather's hands and only sprang away when a leopard in the next cage snarled at him. Grandfather shooed the leopard away, and the tiger returned to lick his hands. But every now and then the leopard would rush at the bars and he would slink back to the corner. The difficult words in the above text are slink, that means move noiselessly. So the grandfather's hand was licked by tigers, and the tiger only got away when leopard in the next cage used to growl at him with anger, and tiger used to get back from fear. Grandfather shooed the leopard away. That means he shouted at him to go away and let tiger come back. But leopard came again and again, and tiger had to get back again to his corner. A number of people had gathered to watch the reunion when keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked grandfather what he was doing. "I am talking to Timothy," said grandfather. "Weren't you here when I gave him to the zoo 6 months ago?" "I haven't been here very long," said the surprised keeper. "Please continue your conversation." So, seeing that someone is putting his hands in the cage of the tiger, all were surprised and they came nearby the cage to see what is happening. So the guard came and asked the grandfather that, "What are you doing, sir?" The grandfather said, "I am talking to my tiger Timothy. Weren't you present when I came here and gave Timothy to you?" The guard said, "No, sir, I wasn't here that time. Please continue your conversation." "But I have never been able to touch him myself. He is always bad-tempered." "Why don't you put him somewhere else?" suggested the grandfather. "The leopard keeps frightening him. I'll go and see the superintendent about it." The guard said that he has never been able to put his hands inside the cage as the tiger is always very bad-tempered, means very aggressive. The tiger said this is all because of the leopard. He kept on frightening him. "I will talk to superintendent to shift him in another cage." Grandfather went in search of the superintendent of the zoo, but found that he had gone home early. And so, after wandering about zoo for a little while, he returned to Timothy's cage to say goodbye. It was beginning to get dark. So the grandfather could not meet the superintendent as he went home early. So he wandered around the zoo a little and he came back to the cage to say goodbye to Timothy as it was getting dark. He had been stroking and slapping Timothy for about 5 minutes when he found another keeper observing him with some alarm. Grandfather recognized him as the keeper who had been there when Timothy had first come to the zoo. So he continued playing with him by tapping him lightly for about 5 minutes, and then he found another keeper observing him, giving him very alerting look, means very awkward look. Grandfather recognized him that, oh, he was there when Timothy came here in the zoo for the first time. You remember me? Said the grandfather. Now, why don't you transfer Timothy to another cage away from this stupid leopard? But sir, stammered the keeper, it's not your tiger. I know, said the grandfather. I realize he is no longer mine, but you might take at least suggestion or two from me. I remember your tiger very well, said the keeper. He died 2 months ago. So, the grandfather asked the keeper to transfer Timothy to another cage as leopard keeps on scaring him. But he stammered like he was trying to tell something to grandfather. He said, sir, he is not your tiger. I know, said the grandfather, he is not mine. I am just giving some suggestions. Please take it. The keeper said, sir, I know your tiger and your tiger died 2 months ago. So who is in the cage playing with him? Died? Exclaimed the grandfather. Yes, sir, of pneumonia. This tiger was stabbed in the hills only last month and he is very dangerous. Grandfather could think of nothing to say. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish. Grandfather took what seemed to him an age to withdraw his hand out from the cage. The difficult words in the above text are relish, that means great enjoyment. So the grandfather was shocked. The keeper said, your tiger died 2 months ago because of pneumonia. And this tiger here, he has come last month and he was stabbed from the hills and he is very dangerous. The tiger continued to lick the hand of grandfather's and enjoyed it a lot. Like you enjoy the dish before you eat it. The grandfather suddenly took his hand out the cage as it can be eaten anytime. With his face near the tiger, he mumbled, "Good night, Timothy," and giving the keeper a scornful look, walked briskly out of the zoo. The difficult words in the above text are briskly, that means in an active, quick or energetic way. So somewhere deep inside, he thought that no, this is my Timothy only, and he said good night Timothy to him in his tears. He gave a scornful look, means that whatever the keeper was saying was a lie and he does not knows anything, and came out of that zoo because he was also scared. So students, that was the story that ended with this shock. Imagine what would happen if grandfather was not able to get his hand out of the cage at the right time. Imagine if tiger would have eaten the hand of the grandfather. Now let's get a comprehension check. The question says, grandmother's prophecy was that the tiger would prefer Mahmud's bed to sleep in, or the tiger would disappear together from the house, or the tiger would one day make a meal of Mahmud. Mark the right answer. The grandmother's prophecy was that the tiger would one day make a meal of the cook, that is of Mahmud. The second question says, when Timothy was about 6 months old, a change came over him. The phrase in italics means that Timothy had grown to his full size, or Timothy grew more friendly or Timothy grew less friendly, in fact more dangerous? Yes, the phrase in italics means that the Timothy grew less friendly, in fact he was more dangerous. That is option number 3. Now let's look at the difficult words of the story. You might need to know the meaning. The glossary. The first word is strolling. That means a walk in a leisurely way. Second word is intricate. Very complicated or detailed. The third word is distinction. A difference or contrast between similar things. The next word is backed. That means succeed in securing. The next word is tempting. Appealing to or attracting someone, sometimes with wrong intentions. The next word is mongrel. That means a dog with no definable type or a breed. The next word is darted. That means moved or rushed suddenly. The next word is retreat. That means to go back. The next word is crawl. That means move forward on the hands and knees or by dragging the body close to the ground. The next word is amusements. Means the provision or enjoyment of entertainment. The next word is stalk. That means move silently or threateningly through a place. The next word is crafty. That means very cunning. The next word is crouching. That means to adopt a position where the knees are bent. The next word is creep. That means to move very quietly and carefully so that nobody will notice you. The next word is dash. That means to run or travel in a great hurry. The next word is retriever. It means a breed of a dog. The next word is snarling. That means make an aggressive growl with bared teeth. The next word is prophetic. That means accurately predicting what will happen in future. The next word is steadily. That means in a regular or even manner. The next word is steal away. That means leave steadily. The next word is cackling. That means the noise which is made by hens. The next word is frenzied. That means loud and frantic. The next word is villainous intent. That means wicked and dangerous plan or idea. The next word is civilized. That means being polite and very well mannered. The next word is get on. That means to perform or make progress in a specific way. The next word we have is interned. That means kept. The next word we have is smacked. That means hit very lightly. The next word is slink. That means move noiselessly. The next word is relish. That means great enjoyment. And the last word for today is briskly. In a very active, quick or energetic way. Now let's come to the textbook exercise of this chapter. Answer the following questions. The first question is, where was the tiger cub hiding when grandfather found him? The grandfather found the tiger cub. He was hiding among the intricate roots of a banyan tree. I'm sure that was very easy for you. The next question is, what did Toto do to entertain Timothy? So Toto would tease and pull Timothy by the tail to entertain him. And what did he do when Timothy lost his temper? So Toto climbed up the curtains when Timothy lost his temper. The next question is, I became one of the tiger's favorites. Who is I in this statement? Why did he think so? So in this statement, I refers to the narrator of the story, that is the Ruskin Bond. He thought so because the tiger had a crafty look in his glittering eyes, crouched his body and crept closer to the author, suddenly making a dash for his feet. He would roll over his back and kick with delight and pretend to bite his ankles. He began to like the narrator. So students, that was the exercise of the chapter. Now I have some interesting homework for you which you have to do with your friends, your parents and your teachers. The first topic of discussion is shoot animals with a camera, not with a gun. What do you think? And the next topic is keeping pets help us become more loving and tolerant. It also helps us respect life in any form. Do you agree with this? So students, that was all about chapter 9, A Tiger in the House. I hope you have understood it very well. Keep revising.